What's up? This is Javon Jamil, Sports from the Stands. Continuing on with my team analysis of the NBA offseason, preseason, the business side of things, getting down to business in the league. So I've gone through the entire Eastern Conference. I've given my opinion on the Eastern Conference teams. We'll see what happens, especially with the draft, and then subsequent free agency thereafter. But now we're in the West. Boogie down in the West, the strong Western Conference that it is. I'm gonna start with the Northwest Division. All right. First up, we got the Portland Trailblazers. They got the 24th pick. Obviously, you got Dame Dollars, Damian Lillard. You got C.J. McCollum. They got Nurkic, who is a restricted free agent, so they're probably gonna try to keep him in the fold. Ed Davis, the free agent, so is Napier. What should they do at 24? What should they do? What should they do this offseason period? Good team, but they got swept by the Pelicans. Got swept by the Pelicans. So, how do you go from winning as many games as they won? I think they were the third seed. Yep, they were the third seed in the West. How do you go from being the third seed in the West, getting swept by the sixth seed in the West, and thinking that you need to make better improvement for next year? What should you do? I feel like Portland needs to pray. Here's why. There's not a lot out there for them to go get. They can't really go sign anything. I mean, their money's tied up in a terrible cap situation. You don't want to have to trade Lillard or McCollum as a result of trying to get better. I feel like that's the last resort. That's the last thing you want to do. That's something that you might have to consider at some point, but that's the last thing you want to do. So what do they need to get better? Or what can they get to get better? I feel like, and this is just me, I feel like Carmelo made a mistake last year when Portland wanted him, and he didn't want to go. He didn't see the greener patches in Portland. Portland had a better record than OKC, had a better combo situation with the guards in OKC, had a better team in OKC as far as records are concerned. But he chased the superstar route with Russell Westbrook and Paul George. I think Portland needs to pray that Paul George leaves Oklahoma City. Melo opts in. Melo would be a fool not to opt into that money he got coming. He opts in. You offer a trade for Melo. He may then, maybe not, but he may decline his no trade clause. He may come to Portland because he say, hey, they're a 50-win team. If I go and I bring my offensive skill to it and the player that I am to it, they let me play my game, we might could do some things. That's the only way I feel like Portland can get better. I mean, obviously, there's the other ways that will probably show. And then I can say, hey, well, that was pretty smart too, or hey, they should listen to me, we'll see. But that's what I feel like they should do, man, because they don't really have any flexibility. Like the 24th pick, historically, does not make a huge difference. You might have some guys late in the draft who come out and are studs, but at 24, I don't see Portland getting that player in this draft. So we got to see what they're going to do. But they need some cap relief. I mean, they got some bad contracts. They got to try to get off of those. They did get off the Crab contract last year. Maybe they need to consider moving Evan Turner. I mean, I feel like that's another bad contract that it just didn't pan out to be what they needed to pan out to be. And I don't know when he becomes a free agent. Maybe it's next year. But maybe that's somebody that OKC will take from Melo, or part of a trade package from Melo, or whatever other trade package they can kind of form. We have to see. You know what I mean? Like that, they have to get better. They're a good team. They need another little piece to keep them going over the hump. They got to go on the trade market, man. Even if it's approaching the Wizards about Otto Porter, or if it's approaching, maybe a lower level guy like Memphis with Tyreke Evans. They need some other pieces to help them get better, and we just got to see what they do. But that's just my opinion of Portland. Obviously, there's a lot of other things they can do, which I wouldn't be against. This is just how I feel like they get over the top a little bit and maybe win the first round series next year instead of getting swept by a team who was record-wise worse. Leading me to Oklahoma City, OKC Thunder. They got 2 second-round picks, nothing spectacular right about in the draft. Paul George obviously has got a player option. Carmelo got an early termination option. Corey Brewer's a free agent, so is Jeremy Grant. So, what do they need to have happen? they got to go all out for Paul George, man. Like, you made the move to get him in the fold. Last year, surprisingly to people, you didn't give up any picks. You only gave up Oladipo and Sabonis to get him. You got to go all out for him. Got to show everything you've been showing. Show him all the love. Do all the recruitment. Do whatever. Because you can't take it for granted that he's in the fold and he's been there for a year and he already knows what we do and how we do things. No, free agency is all about making somebody feel wanted. You didn't have to do that last year. You traded for him, and you invited him in. You traded for Melo. You just gave him team. From what we know, I didn't see anything else. From what we know, you just gave him team. You gave him Russell. You gave him Melo, and boom. You know what I mean? You got to put on all the stops, the signs, the PG-13 stay or the OKC PG or whatever it is you got to do. You got to put out all the stops, all of them. Because at the end of the day, he's going to get that love from other places. He's definitely going to get it from LA. So you got to give him all the love. Not only the money that you can throw at him, you got to give him all the love you can throw at him in hopes that that's going to give him the stay. Now, you have to be prepared that if he stays, Melo will opt into that money. Melo's probably going to opt into that money regardless. I think he would be smart enough to, unless he's willing to say, hey, it's not about money. I want to go to the best situation to win. That's totally different. But if he opts into that money, which I think he will, and Paul George stays, you're pretty much locked into the same team you had last year. The only thing is you'll get Robinson back at some point. So I know that a lot of people are banking on Robinson coming back and then continuing that stride in which they had at some point last year where they were winning good games, good quality games, and stringing a good record together. So you're pretty much going to be locked into that team again, and you're going to have to hope that having an extra or another year builds that gap and builds that bridge so where you get out of the second round against the Utah Jazz and you continue to push forward to challenge the Golden States and the Houston Rockets. So again, they should be OKC all out for Paul George, but you got to prepare in case he goes. If he does go, you got to try to consider moving Melo or keeping Melo for however long that I think another year or so, and letting him play his game. Last year he had to be third fiddle to Paul George and Russell. He had to sacrifice a whole lot. That's not his game. He put up some decent numbers for people who have to do that in that third player role. I think he averaged like 17 or something. It was typically the numbers the third piece averages, but that's not Melo. So if Paul George leaves, you got to turn to Melo and say, hey, we need you to go back to the old Melo. We need you to be a formidable second option to Russell. And we need you to play the way you're supposed to when you were making all-star teams year after year. That's what you got to do. You're either going to convince him they want to be traded or let him play his game if Paul George is to leave. So that's what I think OKC needs to do, next season. And we'll see. We'll kind of see that. Not so much in the draft, more so in free agency, but we'll see what they get accomplished. All right. Next in the division, the Utah Jazz, the team that took out the OKC Thunder in the playoffs because they found a stud in Donovan Mitchell. Nobody saw that coming. If anybody saw that coming, they were geniuses. But a lot of people didn't see him coming in and doing what he did. They got the 21st pick. They need some depth on the wing. They need shooting. What should they do, though? Surprise team, getting better. That culture that they have is in place. They get Jay Crowder in, who helps. I think he really, really loves Utah. I think Utah loves him. I think he'll grow the more he's there for another year or so. You got to keep finding those culture-type players. You know what I mean? Like they lost Gordon Hayward, which was a big loss, but they still made the playoffs and won a series without him because they found their next star in Donovan Mitchell. He has to continue to develop because now there's tape on him for a whole year. People know what he's capable of, and they're not going to take him lightly any longer. They're going to look at him as the star, and they're going to try to cut that off. The Rubio deal was a good deal, gave him a good point guard. Rubio improved his shooting. He's still the playmaker that he ever was. He'll be back from injury, so he'll be back in the fold. So what do you do? It's really tough to say what Utah should do. I think they should only re-sign Derek Favors, who is their key free agent, if there's nothing else better available. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what else may be available. I don't know that Casper situation. I don't think it's the greatest or anywhere where you can sound like a max player kind of guy. So I just had to study the market and see what's out there. But I'm bringing back Derek Favors as a plan B. He's not my plan A. Like he's good. He does, he puts up decent numbers, but is he gonna put us over the top? He's not. So if he's gonna walk, let's let him walk. If there's a better option available, let's go after that better option. And if not, we'll bring him back. Maybe on a short-term deal though. Like I think maybe a year, 2 years, 2 years plus an option, something short so you keep your options available. I wouldn't go, anything long-term if I kept them. But they're in a tough position because they are a good team. And there's not too many different makes I can see you making to put you over the top, but we just have to see how those things work out. Next, we got the Timberwolves. Made a big move last year getting Jimmy in the fold, put Jimmy with Cat, put Jimmy with Wiggins. They still kept their picks. They got the 20th pick in this year's draft. Jamal Crawford has opted out. Derrick Rose is a free agent. So what should they do? My thing, what they need to do, Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Step up. Step up. Jimmy Butler came in and then these guys just went ghost. Like, they weren't the same players they were the year before. Karl Anthony Towns got punked in the playoffs. I don't care what nobody says. Houston just punked him. He got to step up. He got to get stronger. He got to get better. He got to get more physical. Andrew Wiggins, same thing. He went from averaging like 24 before Butler came to averaging 17. Like, you got to be the same player you was before he came. And now they're saying that there's issues or Jimmy Butler doesn't really care for Wiggins and how his work ethic. And that becomes a problem because now you're in limbo again as Minnesota. Because if Jimmy's saying that you need to move Wiggins, well, it's like, Jimmy, you about to be a free agent, my guy. So do I move him, to appease you and then you bolt, or do y'all fix it? So I think they need to fix that. I think that's a good little three they got with Jimmy, Cat, Andrew Wiggins, Jeff Teague, who I don't think they need, but it's going to be hard to trade them, being that they just signed them. Todd Gibson, they got a pretty good team. They can improve the bench a little bit. They need to give Tyus Jones that backup point guard slot and stop playing around with him. Bringing in Derrick Rose and things like that. Like, stop playing with him. Let him have that spot. I think he's earned it and he's proved that he's good enough to have it. Crawford won't be back. I'm pretty sure he opted out to find a better fit because he didn't like the fit that he had in Minnesota. So they can improve the bench. I think if they improve the bench, it'll make them a better team. If Wiggins and Cat step up to where they're both all-star considered players, along with Jimmy, they'll be a better team. They fix the defensive issues that they have when Jimmy's not playing, they'll be a better team. But I don't think the answers are in the draft. The only answers in the draft are going to be from depth and getting younger pieces in who can probably fit what they need them to fit coming off the bench. So ultimately, though, to make a bigger push to perform better in the playoffs, Cat and Wiggins got to step up. They got to become those young stars that they're supposed to be and that they were before Jimmy got there. If they do that with another year under their belt being on the same team, I think we'll see a better showing of Minnesota in the playoffs. So that's just going to have to wait and see as everything else that we got to wait and see on. And then lastly, you got the Nuggets. Good team. Barely missed the playoffs. Got a lottery pick at 14. They need a small forward. They need some cap relief because they're about to sign Jokic to a big deal. There's no way they're going to let that not happen. Wilson Chandler has a player option. It would be best for them if he opted out because he's not giving too much. They got Will Barton, who I know they're going to try to re-sign. He's also a player I think the Wizards need to try to get if they can. Daryl Arthur, Devin Harris, people like that. They got to move Kenneth Faried. He's not in their rotation. He's not in their plans for the future. He's an active guy who's getting paid to sit on the bench and eating up your salary cap. So you got to move him. Now, do you give up 14 to do that? That's tough. You know what I'm saying? This is a deep draft, supposedly, with a lot of deep players and possible players. It's tough to give up a lottery pick just to get out of that contract, but it's something they're going to have to consider. And then, ultimately, you got to keep plugging away. You're not too far. You just barely missed the playoffs. You got something with Gary Harris. You got something with Jamal Murray. You got something with Jokic. You got Paul Millsap. Now, a small forward would be perfect. Depends on who falls in the draft. Depends on what's out there in the trade market. We just got to see what options come available to them. But I think they don't need to mess with too much. The bench is pretty good, pretty developed, especially if you can keep Will Barton. You know what I mean? They traded Moutier. Devin Harris might be a veteran that you want to keep to play that backup point guard because he can play it if he's willing to stay. So we got to see. They make the uniform change. They bring some excitement back to the city. They've gotten back in the relevant conversation since the Melo trade. Denver's coming. Denver's on the way. So I think, if they can move Fareed, get out of that cap situation, add some little minor pieces here and there. I don't think they're going to find an all-star caliber type small forward. But it's going to be somebody who's good enough to start a decent player, maybe an up-and-coming player on the restricted market. That can help them out. So we'll see with that as the time goes on. All right. So again, I'm done with this division too, man. I'm rolling through these things, man. Trying to get ready for the draft tonight. I'm excited. Got to see it. But Denver, trade Kenneth Fareed, get some cap relief, keep plugging away. Minnesota, you need them youngers to step up. They got to be all-star caliber players. They got to be in contention for the all-star game. If they do that, they push your team at another level. Utah, don't mess with too much. Derek Favors is your plan B, not your plan A. But if nothing's available, you re-up and you keep building with Donovan Mitchell. And you keep building on the success you had last year. OKC, show Paul George all the love. Even though personally I want him to go somewhere else because, it's a little different because being a fan. But as your team, you got to go all in. Stop at nothing to get him happy. Stop at nothing to sign that contract because you want him in the fold with Russell for years to come. In Portland, I think you got to try to trade for a superstar. Nobody's going to sign him. You don't got the money to sign him. You got some cap pieces you can move. You got a first round pick you might can move. Like I would mortgage that 24 pick to get out of a contract in Portland. I would. All-star wise, to put you over top, the only person I can see is Carmelo. You wanted him before, you recruited him before, at least the players did, and it didn't work out. But maybe this year, depending on having Paul George, is a more possible thing. I just don't think Melo want to live in Portland though, but you gotta try. And I don't know whatever else they could really do. Like I said, I gotta continue to study the free agent market and the trade market, and after the draft, we'll hear more of those conversations come up. So we'll see what's going on. But that is the wrap on the Western Conference Northwest Division. So again, I will continue. I got a couple more divisions to go. But ultimately, this is all to prepare for the draft and free agency. And again, I love the business side of basketball. Whether I'm right or wrong, I just love to predict and study where I could have gotten better at or what I did that didn't make sense. Or if a team did something that I don't think makes sense. So it's all healthy conversation, man. We all get to live it, see it, love it, talk about it. And that's what it is. So again, I'm Devon Jamil. This is Sports from the Stands. If you got a comment you want to post, follow up with me. I'll try to get back to you or whatever it may be, and we can have a healthy conversation. People get paid to do it on TV all the time, so why we can't do it from the stands? I'll holler.
Yeah. Whoa. What you call an icon living? Saw the record label Misfits just did it. Nylon, couple 5 minutes. Whoa.